In the village of Nkwo in Nigeria, there lived a man named Ezeji. He was no ordinary man, he was the pepper soup king. His soup was legendary, a concoction so rich and flavorful that it was said even the spirits of the ancestors would descend from the spirit world just to have a taste. Ezeji's pepper soup was a blend of fiery habanero peppers, aromatic utazi leaves, and tender chunks of goat meat, simmered to perfection in a clay pot over an open fire. People traveled from far and wide to taste his soup, and his fame spread like wildfire. But Ezeji had a flaw, a fatal one. He was proud, too proud. He believed his soup was a gift from his own hands, not from the gods. And so, he began to neglect the sacred rituals of the village, particularly the Meat Friday rituals. Every Friday, the people of Nkwo would gather at the village square to honor the gods with a feast of meat. It was a tradition as old as the village itself. The elders would slaughter a goat, a ram, or sometimes even a cow, and offer the choicest cuts to the gods. The rest would be shared among the villagers in a grand celebration of unity and gratitude. The gods, in turn, blessed the village with bountiful harvests, healthy children, and protection from evil spirits. But Ezeji, consumed by his own pride, stopped attending the Meat Friday rituals. "Why should I waste my time with such nonsense?" he would scoff. "My soup is enough to feed the village. The gods can eat elsewhere." The elders warned him, "Ezeji, the gods are not to be trifled with. If you do not honor them, they will punish you." But Ezeji laughed, "Let them try. My soup is my power, and no god can take that from me." One fateful Friday, as the villagers gathered at the square, Ezeji stayed in his hut, preparing his famous pepper soup. He had been invited, of course, but he had refused. "I have no need for your rituals," he said. "I have my soup." As the sun set and the village square buzzed with laughter and music, a strange silence fell over Ezeji's hut. The fire beneath his pot flickered and died, though there was no wind. The aroma of his soup, usually so intoxicating, turned sour and acrid. Ezeji frowned, stirring the pot vigorously. "What is this?" he muttered. "Has the wood gone bad?" But before he could investigate, a loud crack echoed through the hut. The clay pot split in two, spilling the soup onto the dirt floor. Ezeji stared in disbelief. "No, my soup." From the shadows emerged a figure, tall and imposing, with eyes that glowed like embers. It was Amadioha, the god of thunder and justice. His voice boomed like a storm. "Ezeji, you have disrespected the gods. You have neglected the Meat Friday rituals, and for that, you will be punished." Ezeji fell to his knees, trembling. "Forgive me, great Amadioha. I did not mean to offend. I will honor the rituals from now on." But Amadioha shook his head. "It is too late for apologies. The gods have spoken. You will face their wrath." With a wave of his hand, Amadioha vanished, leaving Ezeji alone in the darkness. The next morning, Ezeji awoke to find his hut surrounded by a thick, impenetrable fog. He stepped outside, but the village was gone. In its place was a dense forest, filled with strange, twisted trees and eerie whispers. Ezeji's heart pounded as he realized he was no longer in Nkwo. He had been transported to the spirit world, a place of mystery and danger. As he wandered through the forest, he came across a river. Sitting by the riverbank was an old woman, her face wrinkled like the bark of an ancient tree. She was grinding yam in a mortar, her pestle rising and falling with a rhythmic thud. Ezeji approached her cautiously. "Good mother," he said, "can you tell me where I am?" The old woman looked up, her eyes piercing. "You are in the land of the gods, Ezeji. You have been brought here to face their judgment." Ezeji swallowed hard. "What must I do to return to my village?" The old woman smiled, revealing a mouthful of broken teeth. "You must solve the riddle of the gods. Only then will you be allowed to leave." She handed him a small, intricately carved wooden box. "Inside this box is your first challenge. Open it, and the riddle will reveal itself." Ezeji took the box and opened it. Inside was a single, shriveled pepper. As he held it in his hand, a voice echoed in his mind. "I am born in fire, yet I am not consumed. I bring life, yet I cause pain. What am I?" Ezeji frowned, thinking hard. "I am born in fire, yet I am not consumed. I bring life, yet I cause pain. What am I?" Suddenly, it came to him. "The pepper. It is the pepper." The old woman nodded. "You have solved the first riddle. But there are more to come. Follow the river, and you will find your next challenge. Ezeji followed the river until he came to a clearing. In the center of the clearing stood a massive tree, its branches stretching high into the sky. At the base of the tree was a young boy, no older than 10, holding a drum. The boy looked up as Ezeji approached. "Welcome, Ezeji," the boy said. "I am your second challenge. To pass, you must answer my question." Ezeji nodded. "Ask your question, child." The boy smiled. "What is the one thing that the gods value more than meat?" Ezeji thought for a moment. "Is it sacrifice?" The boy shook his head. "No." "Is it obedience?" Again, the boy shook his head. "No." Ezeji frowned, deep in thought. Then it hit him. "It is respect. The gods value respect more than meat." The boy's smile widened. "You are correct. You may pass." As Ezeji walked past the tree, the forest began to change. The twisted trees straightened, and the eerie whispers faded. He knew he was getting closer to the end of his journey. Finally, Ezeji arrived at a large, open field. In the center of the field stood a massive stone altar, covered in carvings of the village gods. Surrounding the altar were the spirits of the ancestors, their faces stern and unyielding. At the foot of the altar stood Amadioha, his arms crossed. "Ezeji," Amadioha said, "you have come far. But one final challenge remains. To prove your worth, you must prepare a pot of pepper soup, using only the ingredients provided by the gods." Ezeji looked around and saw a small fire burning beside the altar. Next to the fire was a clay pot, a wooden spoon, and a basket filled with ingredients. But as he examined the basket, his heart sank. The ingredients were strange and unfamiliar. A handful of dried leaves, a lump of blackened meat, and a single, withered pepper. "How am I to make soup with this?" Ezeji muttered. Amadioha's voice boomed. "This is your final test, Ezeji. Use what you have been given, and create something worthy of the gods." Ezeji took a deep breath and began to work. He crushed the dried leaves and sprinkled them into the pot. He added the blackened meat, carefully cutting away the charred parts. Finally, he sliced the withered pepper and dropped it into the pot. As the soup simmered, a strange aroma filled the air, a mix of bitterness and sweetness, of pain and redemption. When the soup was ready, Ezeji ladled it into a wooden bowl and offered it to Amadioha. The god took a sip, his expression unreadable. Then, slowly, he nodded. "You have done well, Ezeji. You have shown humility, respect, and creativity. The gods are pleased." With a wave of his hand, Amadioha dissolved the spirit world, and Ezeji found himself back in his hut, the clay pot whole once more. The villagers, who had been searching for him, rushed to his side. "Ezeji, where have you been? We thought you were lost forever." Ezeji smiled, a newfound wisdom in his eyes. "I have been on a journey, my friends. A journey to understand the true meaning of respect and tradition." From that day forward, Ezeji never missed a Meat Friday ritual. His pepper soup became even more famous, not just for its flavor, but for the story behind it. And though he never spoke of his time in the spirit world, the villagers knew that the gods had touched him in a way that changed him forever.